Supergalactic Fragilucious. Test, 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 test. Got it? Ryan Aguilar, the beast on the guitar. That's his new name. Remember, the road will still be golden, even when your highest faith in something outside yourself is shattered to pieces. The road will still be golden if your prophet's words prove altered with lies applied to serve the selfishness of our minds. The road will still be golden if aliens descend from the skies and we discover that we are born of their light through their seeds. The road will still be golden if and when the nukes begin to fly and electricity becomes a dying dream and a renewed quest for living arrives. The road will still be golden when science and the stars collide with Jesus and the Anunnaki as Nibiru meets the third eye. We're certain of nothing but our own divinity. Our place is here and now. We are golden and we are soul, but much more than that. That's where it's at. Breaking through that multi-dimensionality, divinity, infinity. Holy triad, the Trinity. We're bringing it down now. This is our time. Time to rise. It's a benediction, coronation, divine demonstration, human soul hybrid. That's right, the whole universe is on the edge of their seat. We're expanding this universe from the inner verse, the outer breath of Mother Creation, taking this universe to places it's never been before. That's a real deal. None of this stuff going on in the world stage or even in these family dramas with friends. Nah, it's all about you. Keep living to your truth, because then the universe reciprocates, and with these energies coming down, it can be a bumpy ride or it can be a big soul-gasm. Yeah, bring in that eclipse and that new moon. Time to bring the bass down, lower the boom. All right, man. So we're just doing something spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative, and courageous. Yeah, that is, somebody said that's a guitarist is awesome. He is very awesome. He's incredible. I don't think he has his camera coming on, but he's actually coming on right now. If you can hear me, Ryan, your camera. Oh, there we go. Hang on a second. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. What's that? I don't know what that is. That's trippy, though. Oh, here he is. Ryan, can you hear me? Ryan, you might have to adjust your. Let me tell him. Let me tell him on the message. Hang on a second. Probably need to set your mic and video permissions. Can't see or hear you. Okay, man. So that was hey Crystalline, what's happening, everybody? Delia Flores, Gary Mooney, Mike Diaz, thank you for the comments. Richie Roy is on Periscope, says that's a great guitarist. Yeah, that's my friend Ryan Aguilar. And that was a I'm going to take him off until he figures it out. That was an impromptu thing. I was in Houston in 2018 and said, bring your guitar over. And I got some words and let's see what we can do. And so, oh, there he is. I'll let him in on the combo. What's happening, brother? Oh, shit, I can't hear you. It's your mic. Your mic is out. It's okay. It'll come. Okay, look at the icons on the bottom of the screen. There's a settings, a little screw looking thing to the right. Click that and set your mic. You see it's got you see the icons? You see the icons at the underneath the screen? The one on the right is a little settings, like a little tool looking thing. Click that and then set your mic. There you go.
Okay. I'm doing this on a laptop, and I'm not a laptop kind of guy. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Wait a minute. Ryan messaged me. What did he say? Okay. So, I like your shirt, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody said, somebody from Periscope said, awesome guitarist, which you are, you really are. I've been, I've loved.
I'm getting my chops back, bro. I put it down for a long time, and when you do that at this age, your muscles don't recover well. So I'm in the process of getting my chops back and everything.
Dude, I mean, I haven't played in 8 years, and I'm in nowhere near. I'm just a beginner. I know like 7 songs, but I picked mine up the other day.
Yeah,
somebody gave me a guitar, and now I had a place to live, so I was able to keep it. And I wish I could have kept that one you gave me. But anyway, I played for like 4 or 5 hours, man. And it was weird because my calluses went away, but now they came back right away. It's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we ought to tell everybody the story.
Story?
Yeah, the story, right? Yeah. So I was on the streets for a couple of years, and then I had to try to get my life together. My first 2 years waking up or reawakening, and so I got a job at a beer a bar in a wings place.
Brewings,
yeah, brewings, and in Houston. So I walked in there and they let me wait tables, and then they let me tend the bar and manage. And so I usually work nights. And so one night, this is probably in 2014 or 2015. So this is heck, actually I think it was about 2014. So one night this guy walks in and he says, give me let me see if I can remember, a Crown Royal, give me a Heineken, and give me an order of, I can't remember the wings, but I remember you wanted them extra crispy.
Yeah, because, and here's why. I don't like getting my fingers dirty with all that shit. I keep the wings dry, and then I would dip them in the sauces by themselves.
Yeah, that's how Morgan makes them. Makes them for me. And once you knew I had a thing for him. So yeah, so we were. So he came in. He would, we would just talk, and I'd be doing my thing, and so I was behind the counter, and I would be writing Sology. This is before I had a laptop.
On a flip phone, and
Yeah, on a flip
anybody
phone.
that's used a flip phone knows how hard it is to text on
I
those
know, man.
things.
I got pretty good at it. I could do it with my eyes
Did you?
closed. Yeah, so I was back there one day, one evening. I was, and I'd never talked to anyone about Sology before in person, and so I was, writing something. And he goes, "What are you doing, man?" And so I said to him, "Well, I'm writing stuff. I got a group in Facebook. It's called Sology." And so then he started asking me what it was about, and then we just started talking. I never talked to anyone in person about it, and so we started talking about it. And then you told me, "Man, I just picked up this book, The Flower of Life,
Mhm.
right, by Drumvalo Melchizedek or whatever his name is." And yeah, we just started talking. And I think he had another book too. And so we just, yeah,
Yeah.
3 or 4 nights a week, he'd come in, and you know, we had our own little happy hour going.
We so I was going in there because was in a place in my life that I was searching for answers, and I had incredible. Anybody that's been around me knows my energy. It can sometimes drive them crazy. Uh, my mind chatter has always been like big, 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 loud. And I was looking into meditation because I was reading about how much you can gain from meditation. And this wasn't even going into going into for spiritual purposes, but just to try to calm my mind down and not overthink. And I remember you when I was talking to you that first night, you said something about this is your kind of your meditation is what you do, and
Yeah,
that was the trigger word for me, meditation, because I was searching for someone that I could talk to about this stuff and get the ball rolling. And this is way before I knew about syncs and meeting. When stuff magical stuff like this happens, I
mm,
didn't know about this stuff yet. So I took it as, wow, this guy can help me learn something. And so I started, and then when I would come by during the week. I was always hoping you were there because I liked our conversations, and we would talk about some really deep stuff that I had no idea at the time what was being discussed. I do now, but at that time it was like, even reading The Flower of Life or any spiritual book like that, the words were just words to me because I didn't understand the inner meaning behind them until I started drawing it, and then it's like my mind was activated.
yeah.
It opened up. It was like it was repairing the little, what are they called, the little um, things that they're part of the brain that spark.
Oh, are they synapses?
Synapses.
Or
Yes.
is that
So
right? God,
yeah,
I can't believe I got that right.
yeah. But before that, I felt like my mind was going into a slow, degenerate, uh,
Right.
almost like a early states Alzheimer or dementia. I couldn't think of words. I was having a very hard time focusing on and just remembering stuff. And the geometry, what it was doing, it was repairing DNA. It was repairing my brain basically. I felt like I was in uh, an OCD, ADHD, but not in a bad way.
Uh
It
huh.
it was helping me. Those two medical terms, which I now understand were gifts and not diagnoses. They
Right.
they were there helping me in the drawings.
Right.
OCD because I was constantly obsessed with getting this thing right, and then the ADHD. Well, that's just I can't remember shit. But it's a funny thing because when the universe is calling you to do your thing, I was watching on the TV, getting programmed at that time. And it's a funny thing. These syncs and little magic things were starting to happen.
Right.
One night when it was time for me to really go deep into the drawings, my TV would not turn on. I mean, it was working. It worked in all the other rooms except mine. Uh, so I took it as a sign. I tried to get it to turn on for several days, and it wouldn't. It works fine now. But I took it as a sign. Okay, I'm supposed to be drawing this stuff. I'm supposed to be whatever it is. Someone, some things, whatever on any plane is telling me it's time to get serious and get busy and do what you're come here to do.
So yeah, and oh, I got to turn this down. So you started drawing. I'm going to pull some up in a minute for people that haven't seen it. So you started drawing this sacred geometry, which was mind blowing. Like we're talking about something that's very detailed. We actually filmed a couple of episodes where we watched you do it.
Yeah.
But before that happened, so this all starts like in 2014, and we
Yeah.
stay in touch. And I eventually, you actually came over to the original Solo G1 Studios
Hmm.
studio.
I came to your
That
house. You were living in this little
yeah,
condo place that you
yeah,
had.
townhouse,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you came over and you're like, let's do something or whatever. And you brought some recording device and some other kind of thing I'd never seen before. And we did something. I forget what it was. I did some kind of like soul speaking, and
I was
then
trying to create some background beats for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Getting all
That's right.
the stuff from the internet and showing you kind of how easy it was to use like GarageBand and
Yeah, yeah. And at that point, you still weren't. I don't. This would have been 2016, and you still weren't like in. Like I hadn't seen you on Facebook. Like
no,
in flight worker groups and stuff.
I was
So
avoiding
this,
everything. I was avoiding. I
yeah,
was kind of like in the background watching everybody, and
yeah,
it was kind of you had to kind of the things that you guys were talking about. I wasn't completely sure if I was resonating with at the time. I was interested, but it was like I'd never heard anybody talk like this. So the
mm,
stuff I was scared to share it out, so I was kind of hiding behind, just watching, peeping in. Yeah. So
yeah. So that was like 2016. You came over, uh, and then I left in October 2016, and so I'm in. So I left in October 2016. I'm in New York City, living in the Bronx, and it's January of 2017. And this is still before the sacred geometry.
yeah,
So this is still before I'd even seen you in the light worker groups or in really act in Sology. I mean, you might have done a post or two.
yeah.
And so I get this call from you. Do you remember this?
I remember that call, man.
I get this phone call from him, and he's like, dude, I gotta talk to you. I gotta talk to you. I'm like, okay. So he gets on the phone and he starts telling me, oh my God, I woke up. I got it. I mean, all this, and he just starts telling me all this stuff that's happening to him, like so many people, like all of us have experienced. And of course, he's in that mode of, it's new, and he wants to tell everybody.
High vibration. You want to tell your
Yeah,
tell your truth, man.
yeah,
And it's like from that moment on, I had no fear anymore. I
yeah.
started sharing Todd Medina videos.
Yeah, you're sharing Todd Medina
I mean,
videos.
I wasn't scared, man. I was speaking my truth, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. And I remember telling you that night, man, okay, man, it just started. Get over the wow because it'll block it if you
Mhm.
stay in the wow.
Yeah.
And I think I advise you don't go tell a bunch of people that aren't awake because there's a cycle that everybody goes through and nobody will listen to me and all that stuff. And then they figure out they don't need to tell them.
I got
So
asked
then,
if I was in a cult a couple times.
yeah, right. Oh, yeah, believe me, I have a lot of friends from high school tell me that. And I'm like, how can it be a cult? There's no dogma, there's no doctrine.
Yeah, we're in a cult that actually encourages you to think for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next year, which would have been 2017, I went back to Houston. Morgan came and you hung out with Morgan and I. And that was the first time you actually brought over, I think, the first one of the first three or four sacred geometry pieces you had done. It was on a white poster board. I believe it was in black or blue ink, and you said, "Here, you can have this." And so Morgan had me. And I had just met Morgan. We'd only been physically together for like a week or two, if that long. And so I never forget when you left. Morgan had me sit upstairs and stare at the sacred geometry. And I'm like, "Why am I staring at this thing?" She goes, "Because it's going to talk to you." And I'm like, "No way!" But of course, I was, trying to make something happen with her. So I listened to her, and it did talk to me. And if you guys haven't seen what he does, this is a piece he did uh, for Sology. And so then now we go another year, and it's 2018. We're about to get married. We're in Atlanta. She'd come back, and we're there like 3 or 4 days, and we'd had these afternoon sessions, and so we're laying in the bed, hands together, and Sology comes in, and it comes in as this golden tree and starts talking to us, and it starts like sprouting these golden apples or golden fruits, and it starts telling us that it's its own consciousness. It will guide us. There'll be plenty of other people coming to nurture it and feed it with their divine love, and so on and so on. So we ended up contacting Ryan and saying, "Hey, do you think you could capture this?" And so this is an example of what he does, and this is the one he did for Sology, and you can see the tree trunk and branches at the top and the roots at the bottom. You see the Vesica Pisces, the masculine and the feminine, which is the root of Sology, divine union. And so these intricate pieces, I mean, I bet you've done what, like 30 or 40 of them?
Yeah, I've got a stack full over here, uh,
Yeah.
that I've drawn, and they've helped heal me. I mean, it's been a very healing path. That's what I ultimately understood. What my purpose was for in drawing the sacred geometry is I have to heal myself first. So when I'm drawing, it's like a meditative state. When I first started this stuff, let me just kind of back up. And
Yeah.
when I called you from New York, I had just had a dream, and in which I was activated in that dream, and I remember it like it was like I'll never forget it. Um, you were in the dream, and someone else. So that's another sync. I mean, that's how I know that it was actually real. Um, and I was leaving this place, and I'm going down this little dirt road on the way home, walking home, and I've sensed something is following me. So I take a left into this little cabin, and these only happen in dreams. Remember. Uh, so I take a left into that cabin, shut the door behind me, go down the hallway to the right, take a left into a bedroom, and shut the door behind me. And then as I shut the door, I feel some presence behind me. And then there's this being there behind me. I, I turn around, and he sets his leg on me, knee on me, and I'm on the ground, kind of unable to move. Not now. I'm not scared at all. This is not a fearful dream at all. But I was very aware of what was going on, and this laser light from his eyes, mouth, and chest shot into mine. My
Wow.
chest, my eyes, my mouth, and I was just sitting here in a kind of state, just receiving this energy. Now I've never felt anything like this in my life. When I woke up, I knew that this was meant something, because I don't usually have dreams like that. I've had a couple of them which I'll never forget, but this one was right as I was starting to wake up to what I was supposed to do. I woke up from that dream, and like I said, I wasn't scared. It was very positive. But the first thing I thought of is I got to tell Todd about this, because I'm hearing in your conversations with other people, I'm hearing you guys talk about words that I'm not used to: transmissions, downloads. activations, that kind of stuff. and
Mm.
and now I got it. That at that point, my human side understood what you guys were talking
Yeah.
about. And I called you and I told you the exact same story. And it was after that that I started the drawings. And
Yeah.
now, up to that point, I was drawing to figure it out. I was understanding how the flower of life works, Metatron's cube, all that stuff. I was learning. After that night, I started really drawing. That's where the energy in the pieces started. Um, what's the word? They started being alive.
Yeah.
And from those drawings, I started noticing that people would comment or look at the drawings and they could see things happening in them. They would get messages, they would get activated themselves. And
Yeah.
and all I could say was, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand because it happened to me.
And you say that because I know like Morgan does mandalas, and
Mm,
she started doing the mandalas when she split up with her ex-husband,
mm,
and it was a long drawn out process. So finally, when it was actually done, she basically came back to herself, and said, "Well, what am I going to do?" And so she started um, make drawing mandalas, and she did like 900 of them.
yeah.
And what she was doing was she was integrating, releasing, healing,
There,
aligning.
there's a time when you start drawing that you like she was going through, that you start integrating healing yourself, because you got to heal yourself first. DNA starts repairing itself. Your brain starts rewiring itself. You start not uh you know it's almost like you can see through the illusion.
Yeah,
You're awake finally.
yeah, yeah. And so that's what you were doing. You're
Hmm.
doing the same thing, and they actually got bigger than that because you, man, you were like a demon, man. You were like doing all kinds. In fact, you sent us two other ones. One was the feminine, I guess Morgan, and one was, and you sent it to her in Australia, and it was pink, or kind of a
Yeah, I remember that.
what do you call that, fuchsia or pink, and then mine was blue with a lot of gold, and they if you look at them, I mean, obviously the one that I showed that I put up, that's specific to Sology, and there was uh, some direction, like we said, hey, this is what we saw. We did. I don't think we even sent him a picture or anything.
No,
And
he
so he
fired.
got it. And but the other ones he does, and even in this one, if you get closer, you can look and see all the intricacies and all the messages that are
Yeah.
there.
So
And I want to point out too that this the graphic that you see at the beginning of Soul Speaks 5Ds, with the two circles coming together and making the Vesica Pisces. You can see the limbs above it, and the roots below it. That came from Ryan's piece, the one I just put up, and the graphic artist said, "I'll do the best I can," and so here we are. Yeah,
the the pieces, all of the artwork is laid on top of the flower of life. The flower of life comes first. It's guarded. It is pure energy, but it's a safe place. So all of the artwork is first laid on top. First, the flower of life comes, and then as I start, as my hand, because I'm not thinking when I'm doing these things, my hand starts to be guided, and at that time you got to trust. And I was just letting anything happen that happened naturally. Um, then I start connecting little pieces. I start connecting little pieces, and then all of a sudden, I got it. You get a tree branch out of it. It's fun because I never know what's going to happen.
that's like your, like.
we do that open mic, spoken word, and people come on and do I don't mean I don't even want to say traditional light language, but I mean they do light language, which we've all become more familiar with, different dialects, and then some people will come on, like Ernestine comes on and plays a guitar. She says, "This is my light language."
Hmm.
So like what you're talking about to me, that's like you're channeling. Like
Yeah.
you don't even you're not thinking. You're in that space between breaths, right?
I had no way at that time to describe to others what, because I had a lot of people, friends from mine from high school and the band days, come and ask me, "How are you doing this? What is your thought process?" I don't have a thought process. I
Right.
don't understand what's going on myself. I can't explain it. My mind is not working at that time. My brain is not behind this. There's something higher that is guiding my fingers and my hands. Because of the energetics involved, I understood this later, that after the activation, everything that came from the hands was also activated in the pieces.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was also getting the energy that I was given.
Yeah.
Uh, Healing
Like
energy
the
also, because it was after that that we got Reiki certified. So, not that certificates mean anything these days
yeah.
anymore, but the Reiki helped because I was putting in a lot of healing energies as well too. There was music going along, there was the healing, and there was the activation that I was getting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the individual goes, so goes the collective. So you're passing on
Yeah.
some people do what I do. They do a spirit walk and talk. And some people, play music and write poetry and make videos. But so and then listening to your, re-listening to that piece that I opened the show with, "The road will always be golden." So we did that in the hotel 2 years ago. I'd never heard Ryan play, and I've been around music. I've always loved music. I love the guitar, electric guitar. I mean, I'm not a guitar player, but uh, and so a couple of things. One is I have a friend that lives in Houston. From from the early days, let's just say, and
Cool. Old school.
he right, and he hit me up right on, and he hit me up after we did that show. He said, "Dude," and he's a very much a music nut. He knows music, and he goes, "Man, that dude can play, man." You're like, and I guess what the reason I brought that up is because as you're talking about the sacred geometry pieces and how you're not conscious by conventional definitions. I that's how you play the guitar. I mean, I turned that instrumental on, and I know it was a nice, comfortable beat, but you just went to town on it. So that's really the same thing, isn't it? Though I mean, it's like you're in that space between breaths.
Yeah, I'm no, I don't, I've never thought of myself as someone who is a genius at improv,
Yeah,
but there is, with what I do know and what abilities I do have, um, whenever you do go into an improv, my mind just kind of shuts off and I'm just in feel mode.
yeah,
Because one tends to overthink, that's when the nerves and anxieties start. So uh,
yeah.
that's what's going on. That's what occurs there.
Violet Mellon is asking you, do you do anything in particular to remain grounded, or do you find your art does that for you?
Um, the art the art is really grounding. Now I'm just starting to kind of reinvent myself now. There was a period between 2018 through the beginning or middle of 2020 this year where I was just kind of in solitary mode. I wasn't
Yeah,
acting, I wasn't playing, I wasn't drawing. So I'm just now starting to get my spark back.
yeah,
Um, So I've been going a lot to the park behind the house where you know really well, Todd. We've been there
Mm,
before. You had some experiences back there. I
yeah.
go out there, usually do a walk, and I ground bare feet in the grass or mud, and that's what I'm doing right now. Back in those days when I was drawing, um, the artwork, dude. I mean, I would stay up late night draw and just draw, and I get lost in the drawings, you know, and I'd have
Yeah.
dreams about them, you know.
Well, that's interesting because you're not the first person that told me they kind of went on a hiatus as far as their expressions. And uh, and so I know you personally, and I think a number of people are going to know your personality and your energy because you have been visible, you know, for a good 4 years,
Mm.
in your way, which was kind of quiet. You know, kind of throw out this humorous wisdom on your post, and you make certain little comments. You keep it light, and then you put in something deep. But as I don't know, 3 4 weeks ago,
W-
like, you know, when you started working out, I think it was around the time you started working out, man, your stuff is, I mean, I'm sharing it to Sology when I search for stuff every day to share it to the group. Man, your stuff is like potent, dude. It's like straight from the heart, no bullshit. I love everybody. uh, you know, kind of in a very diplomatic way. Get off your high horse. uh, don't take it too seriously. uh, I found my voice, and I found myself, you know, which I think is also, you know, very indicative in your working out, you know, your resurgence in physically working out, and of course
Getting your
with what's
soul back.
coming through in your throat chakra.
Yeah, it's getting your soul back. We exist in a sine wave. We exist in a sine wave. Sometimes we're up here, sometimes we're down there. You got to take that time. When you're down here, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, but those are the times where you do get go in and reflect and, you know, ask the question, who am I? You know, what am I here for? Am I on the right path? You know? And you have to kind of be easier on yourself. Give yourself a break from all the Facebook media, all the bull that's going on right now. This is a tough time for light workers,
Yeah,
empaths, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on that can be real draining. You need to find time to ground. Find a grounding crystal. I've got this huge shungite that's on my desk where I do my lessons, and where I have a lot of the media, Facebook, iPads, and all that stuff, because the current that's going through there sometimes can be a little unbalanced. So this helps keep everything around my work area balanced.
yeah.
You know?
And you, another thing I noticed about you, actually since day one, you don't have that program running where, how do I say this? You don't have that program running where you're looking for external validation. And if you do, and if you ever have, you certainly don't show it. Like you don't get wrapped up in that. And I don't know if that's just a natural thing for you. I mean, I've just noticed that about you, and I admire that about you because you see a lot of that out in the community. You see a lot of that seeking validation, you know. And I'm not knocking it because it's part of it. I'm just looking at it as part of our journey and what is that and what can I learn from it? What do I not see in myself?
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fear pushing going on out there. You know, I myself, there was a time in 2016 where I was doing the same thing,
Yeah,
really projecting what I was saw was going on in the community or on media. and I was trying to get the message out and warn people. This is
Yeah.
this has happened. They're trying to this and that, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
The the fear pushing. Well, first of all, it scares a lot of people that have innocent souls that aren't yet technically aware of the situations. So you're scaring them. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
They will become aware on their own when it's their time. It's not my job to scare you into waking up.
Yeah.
Just not. I mean, this universal law. We got to let folks come to their own awareness on their own time.
Man, they're going to.
When
I
they're
mean,
that,
even if you try whatever you try, it's not gonna do it for them. But I was talking more about like validation, like you put up a post and hey, did everybody like it? You don't have
oh
that.
yeah,
And but as far as what you're talking about, that is true. I did it, even before I met you, in the early days, making videos and you know, two planes can't knock down three buildings, and
we all done it.
yeah,
We want everybody to understand that this is an illusion. We're living in a reality where nothing is real. But so yeah, I understand that.
but it has like, okay, because every year has been its own lifetime. It seems like since the last few years, but in every year there always seems to be a emergence or a resurgence of projection in the lightworker community. But this year, given the COVID, the mask, given vaccines, and this election, and Q, and a multitude of other things, there's been a shitload of projection. If you don't like this, get off my page and unfriend me now.
Yeah,
We're talking about people that have a lot of people following them, as well as others. But
keeping it.
that's been an interesting proposition too, because you look at it and go, I do to myself, and I say, well, why is that? Why is that bothering you? Like what's in it in me that I'm not seeing? And I've learned a few things. And then I've also gone back to the program running, which is what you're referring to, which is I need to let people know, you know? So it's a interesting place to be, really. Like,
It really is the way I've started to begin to look at this whole reality simulation is this is the most freaking exciting time to be alive on
mm,
the plane. It really is. If you get out of the mind space and step back with no fear and just observe what is going on, observe everybody's reaction to what's going on, and what the projected outcome could possibly be for our highest good,
right,
because that's what I'm projecting out. I'm not staying on the timeline that this person here is going to stay on. I'm on a different timeline. I'm creating it myself. I'm
right,
projecting the timeline I want to see. So I'm sitting back here and just watching this like a big soap opera,
yeah,
like
exactly,
or a Marvel's movie. Let's go there. I'm going to think bigger than a little novella.
right, right.
It really is an exciting time to be alive if you can get over the fear. I
That's
mean,
right.
we're stepping into our birthright, really.
That's right.
I mean, we've got this coming.
So, like, yeah, I guess the biggest, I guess, and I was thinking about this last night for a long time. I was thinking about, because I always think about, okay, what are the topics, and you know what you fill yourself up, and then you get on the show and it's spontaneous and it comes out, but it's because you've been filling up with stuff. And I was thinking about financial reset. What do they call it? The RV. What is
Um,
that thing called?
I've heard,
The
I've, I've heard,
Jasara, financial reset.
yeah.
You got QAnon movement.
Mhm.
You got the solar flash. Um, you've got what's one of the other ones? The Galactic Federation is going to land in spaceships and put us in the ships, and we're going to head out. All they're still narratives. And what I was thinking last night was I was like looking at the Trump and Biden stuff and just reading some of the stuff and see what's happening. Not getting a charge because I don't have an affiliation at
Yeah.
all. I voted with my feet, and I'm looking at it like you said, like it's a script, like it's an entertainment thing, right? And looking for the energetics behind it, I guess.
Hmm.
And I'm saying I know they're going to end up in the same place, uh, but one of the things that I think might come out of this, or at least the way the pattern seems to be going in my personal life and my personal journey, and what I'm observing is the universe is going to take them all away. It's good. These narratives all represent what? Distraction from you.
Hmm.
Someone's going to save me,
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly.
And that's what I see the value is if it goes one way, and even if it goes the other way. I'm talking about the presidential thing, because either way, everything is going to fail you because it's based on duality, and we're here to bring this Trinity energy in.
Hmm.
And I think another 2 or 3 months, I think we might see some real um, fortitude to the I am soul in this light worker community, as opposed to bitching and moaning and debating and arguing about, it's the blue way or the red way.
I choose the purple way, blue and red,
There you go.
blue and red
It's a healing energy.
become one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see when I changed the frequency on my posts? I actually made it, did some magic there. I changed the frequency of the posting during the election, and I changed everything to violet because that's what we got coming.
Wow.
There is not going to be this separation of blue and red anymore. It's going to be unity. That's that's my
I did see the one post that you put up recently where it was a picture of the United States,
Yep.
and all the states were purple as opposed to being blue
Yep.
or red. You know, yeah, because I look at and of course any of us, like you said in 2016, any of us, when we wake up, we start looking at all the BS, and
Mm.
we start getting shocked and going, oh my God, this isn't, this, we've been lied to or whatever. But one of the things that I'm seeing now too is, look, these predictions, these narratives, they're falling flat. Okay. They're falling flat. And if they fall flat, I think that will be awesome because we don't have any other choices but to look at ourselves. Right. I mean, it's crazy because obviously everything that's out there, and I would even include half of what's on Lightworker Circle platforms, Lightworker community platforms, YouTube, Facebook, websites, whatever. If the mainstream media has been virtually 100% controlled, you got to know that they've
Oh yeah.
had some influence, in the social platforms. So I just,
Fighting each other.
yeah,
You know.
I just wonder if at some point uh, it's I can't see how it won't break open where there won't be at least one, if not several, strong energies that become I don't want to say household names, but become very known. Let's just put it that way. That carry the same frequency. That carry the frequency of, hey, the best thing we can do is stop bitching and improve ourselves and expand ourselves because energetically that affects everything.
Yeah, and that's my main objective right now. This is why I get up and I do my breath work, and
Yeah.
I go to my garage gym and I work out so I can get this vessel into peak condition to be able to hold the light.
Yeah.
Uh, I've got some routines that are starting to become uh,
Wow.
uh, perfect for me, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, they're helping me get my being back, my voice back, my throat chakra.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll say, I'll say, like there's an emergence of male incarnates that really hasn't been, front and center until about, in my opinion anyway, about, I'd say maybe started around June or July. Now there's been flashes like there is with everything in the ebb and flow of our experience, but uh, men like you, and I can name a few, but stepping up with this power. It's not like an alpha male power. It's a very honest, heartfelt throat expression that obviously has a balance to it. Call it masculine and feminine, but yeah, I see the difference. That's why I reached out, and in fact, I told Morgan about a week ago. I'm like, man, have you seen what Ryan's writing? We need to ask him on. And she said, I was just thinking about that. Yeah. So you're making a impression on people, no
Well,
doubt.
I'm definitely um foremost. Everything that I post is foremost for me because I have it's a reminder to
Yeah.
myself of what I'm becoming. So that resonates with some people, and some people it doesn't. And if it helps someone, then you know I've done my job for the day. I choose
Yeah.
everything I'm posting now as opposed to when I was in my down sine wave period. um, is about lifting yourself up. Is about healing the childhood traumas that are keeping us from being happy, that are keeping us from ruining our relationships with other people,
Yeah.
uh, healing the gut, the part of the body that most people have attachments to are in the gut, sacral.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm doing a lot of inner work these days, and like I said, I feel like people are having a positive response to it, and not
Absolutely, they are.
definitely not going out there for likes, even
No,
though
you can't.
that is a big trigger of mine. Is that freaking like that
Yeah. That's why I don't
or
even. I don't typically go back and look at anything. I did in the beginning because you want to see whatever. I wasn't as mature, whatever you want to call it, but I find it. I find it to be depleting if I and really excuse me, equally depleting like in the old days if I'd go back and try to answer every comment, you know, and somebody, you know, is being an antagonist or whatever, and then
Mhm.
that saps your energy, and even in the other side of it too, because of the fact that we're all coming out of this conditioning, a significant amount of our replies and comments are coming from a wounded, imbalanced,
Yeah, man.
unconscious intention. You
And
know,
that's what it's all about, healing that part of you that feels the need to lash out at someone because
yeah,
you hurt people. I mean,
yeah,
that's what I've come to learn. I mean, that's anything that I've lashed out is because of something that someone has done to me, whether it's an adult or a kid. And you know what I would do as a child when someone would slight me or do something mean to me, I would get mad. I wouldn't do nothing. I'd curl up in a ball first. I would get mad, hold it in, go home, and then think of what I would have done if I had the power to do something to get
yeah,
back at this kid. And that is crushing, man. That is an energy that it will kill your heart.
yeah,
It'll kill your soul.
yeah,
You have to, yeah. When you learn to balance the ego when it comes to those types of things, it's very hard at first.
yeah,
Especially if you've been in the head all your life. Grounding helps, breath work helps, slowing down the heart. But then you can come from a place of um, gentleness and love and understanding that this person is also hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing, or maybe something else different happened to him, and he's only
Exactly.
projecting his own hurt onto you. What I've come to understand about myself, and someone said this to me the other day, and it used to irritate me and piss me off and make me feel I'm not like that. They said you have a gentle soul, and I was like, you know what? You're right. I've always had a gentle soul. I don't like to fight. I don't like to lash out at someone. I get hurt real easily if someone says something mean to me. I mean, I don't like people yelling at me. I mean, it's a thing that I've had to live with my whole life, and I'm starting to finally understand the power in that.
Yeah.
The power in the vulnerability that the people that have projected their stuff to me onto me, which I allowed.
Yeah.
I admit that. You only allow people to hurt you, okay? Not the other way around. I've understood now my role because I accept how big my heart is, and I accept that I am amazing at transmutating someone's hurt when they project it onto me. I've become a master at it.
How do you do that? I mean, from a human perspective, is it quiet? I
It's
mean, do you?
Yeah, I do it. I do it very quietly on my
Yeah,
own, alone
that's
time,
right. Yeah,
alone time.
yeah.
First thing,
That's pretty much what I've come to now. Is
yeah,
like over the last few months, I don't say anything. I
yeah,
just deal with it here. And I've made this remark for the last couple of 2, 3 months on the show. What I'm noticing is that it all gets worked out,
it
and
does
I didn't have to say a word.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, yes, it works out. It's they throw their pain and hurt at you, and you
Yeah.
feel all of that, and then you breathe and you balance that out. It's a gift. The empath is a gift. Don't ever think less of yourself for being an empath and having a gentle soul. It is a fucking superpower.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. True. True that. And it's interesting too because um, everything's relative and proportionate. And what I'm talking about is, well, let me give an example. So, like last night or this morning, because I can't remember. I'm like you, I can't remember any time anymore. But I was watching this video, this show from a couple days ago. Prominent, prominent person in the community,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just watching it, and I was listening to the discussion, and the discussion was all about uh, archons, fourth dimensional energy that distorts reality, and so on and so on and so on. And I thought to myself, and I'm listening to it, I thought, what is it in this program that I'm having an issue with? And I realized what it was. So I know I need to go look for this again in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Victim consciousness. Like, and I said to myself, when is the victim consciousness going to go away? Because that's really what all this stuff is. If you're on the red side or the blue side, somebody's a victim. You know what I mean? I mean, I mean, I think that part of the reason that we're where we're at today, if I just look at all the people that all the shows I've done and what's come in as intel, one of the things I've noticed is that the projections of when this is going to happen and when that's going to happen, when we get to a certain point, have moved way up, like from 2050, 2035, 2028. Now we're talking like 2, 3 years where and I really believe that there's no other explanation for that other than what's not being spoken about enough, the personal transformation people are making all over the world, whether they're considered a light worker or woke or not woke or whatever. I think that's really what it's boiling down to.
Yeah, yeah. And the projections are coming super speed these days. I mean, just
Yeah,
instantly.
yeah, they really are.
Living in a time warp.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why I've adopted the thing with the don't say anything, because if you know it, then you don't have to say anything.
I like reading Richie Sauter's posts because
Yeah.
he's the king of this stuff, the neutrality king, and it's so true. I mean, because it shuts down the projections instantly.
Yeah.
What does he say? Uh, what does he say? Always. Yes, you're correct. Thank you for seeing me. It's like you
Yeah.
can't argue back that. You can't argue back against that and win. It's it's a true balance. I mean, that's what it is. Neutrality is a balance.
Yeah.
Don't go here, don't go
Yeah.
here. Stay here, right here. This is the center.
Yeah.
This is the center. I've played that part for way too long. I like it here.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't get pissed. Doesn't mean I don't get irritated sometimes. I still have the same. I'm still human. I still have the same human emotions that everybody else has, but I just have learned to face them better.
Well, if you think about it, what you're saying, so you're going to go through whatever you go through either way, right?
Yeah,
Like you're going to feel whatever you feel. The question is, how long are you going to feel it, and how depleting will it be or not?
exactly.
And if you think about it, you're projecting it, or say somebody projects on you, and then you engage it, your energy is going out there, right? So you're going to be a lot less, balanced, and if you keep it in here and work it out, which is what you said. You said that you're a master transmuter, and you do it in your own field of energy,
Yeah,
which, because we're one, affects the person that projected you. And as I was saying earlier, I've noticed over the last 3 or 4 months, you don't even have to say anything; it just works out. And sometimes that means you don't talk to him anymore, but it's not with like, oh, I ain't talking to them. It just happens in a natural, organic way.
yeah.
This,
Energy. What's the saying? Energy goes where energy flows.
yeah,
There's a saying there somewhere. But
yeah,
yeah, you choose where the projection, whether it's going to affect you or not.
yeah,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm I'm conscious of it these days. I know exactly uh, when you become aware of how the empath works, the energy, you will feel that energy before the person enters a room. The
yeah.
energy precedes him.
That's happening a lot,
Yeah, I
isn't
know
it?
exactly who's coming
Yeah,
in my peripheral view or my energy field before they even know it.
yeah, yeah. And the other thing too is, I guess it's an expanding telepathy, but even like if you're not talking, even if they're not in your physical presence, you can pick it, we're picking it up. We're picking it up by looking at a message, looking at a post.
Yeah,
I mean, it's real.
yeah,
And I think the issue is, or not the issue, but we're like in a space in the transition where the old pattern was immediately engage, immediately engage.
yes,
Now we're kind of pulling back, and because it's not something we've been used to, at least in our recent memory, whatever recent incarnations, uh, that piece about it working itself out. If you stay neutral, it happens.
yeah, yeah. Reacting to text messages is. I mean, you're gonna hurt yourself there.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I'll
can't.
tell you the other thing that I try to keep a watch on, and I think I've gotten pretty good at it now. I don't know if I'm a master at it, but like when you said a minute ago, I know I'm a master at transmuting. And that's another thing. You can feel a truth frequency, right? I mean, so that's not boasting or bragging. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I'm
That's
very.
the stripes you've earned.
I mean, I'm
But
really confident.
yeah, absolutely. And what I've noticed is when I or other people get real adamant about I'm okay, da 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 da, I got it figured out, like that's a big warning sign to me.
Yeah.
Like I just I'm real careful around that kind of energy because I learned the hard way. You know, I've got the scar tissue to prove it. Seriously, you know. Um, God, I was going to ask you too. Yeah, this thing, and another thing that I believe we're probably all of us are contending with, those that got, I hate to put it that way, the energetic connections that helped you get to this elevated level aren't always the ones that continue down the path and vice versa with you. You know what I mean? It's like, I could just say it straight up. I've got friends, and I still consider them friends that I don't talk to, and they don't talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's just we've had our little thing. We helped each other as catalysts for each other, and you keep going, and they're all over the place. I mean, it's everywhere. You know.
It's the
Uh,
truth about vibration is that when you are vibrating at a level, you attract certain people.
yeah.
I've got those in my life right now. They're very, uh, you know, loving souls
Yeah.
that are, um, I'm getting a lot of new friend requests these days.
I
So
bet. I bet the chicks are knocking your door down.
it's not, it's,
Well, with that curly hair, man, come on now.
man, I'm finally starting to accept it, man.
I love it, man.
Um, yeah, I've gotten an influx of new friends these days, and their posts are so beautiful,
Yeah.
and you can tell that we've done this before.
Oh,
I recognize souls. I'm getting better at recognizing souls,
yeah.
and so when you vibrate up, you start attracting the same vibration, and then those that are not, on that vibration anymore will start. You may not see them again, or they're on another timeline, and
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody is perfect at their own timeline, what they're doing right now. There's nothing wrong with where you are right now. But, well, not but. I hate to say buts because
Yeah.
that sounds like a judgment coming on. It is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I like where I'm at right now. I'm gonna keep rising, um, because that is the reality I'm seeing project.
Yeah. And somebody said like begets like, or like attracts like. I think another difference now between now and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and it has been a graduated evolution, but is that now we're making conscious choices of what energy we play with.
Yes.
Where before we had to learn that we were actually attracting that instead of saying, "Hey, you're messing with me." We had to go in and go, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm the one that's creating all this, right?"
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it's a hell of a ride, man. But I'm with you. I can't think, and of course, I don't have full recall of all the incarnations I've had and all the whatever timelines,
Either.
dimensions, planets, universes. But I can't even begin to think that there's any place I'd rather be. I want to see what we can do with it. You know,
Man,
that's how I feel about it.
I'm fucking having fun. I love my pals.
Mm.
Love you, brother.
Love you
We've
too,
had a
man.
history, man.
I know.
One day
I
we
know.
should do a show about the history. The Let me give you a detailed uh detailed about how Todd Medina used to write down my order.
Right down the order. Well, they're out of business now, so
I know.
I can just say that you had incredible happy hours. I did charge you for everything. I just didn't. I just, I'm a Mexican, so if you order a shot, you're going to get two and a half.
Yeah, yes, I appreciate it. I
I
didn't
just had to make.
tip
I'm
well.
just glad you lived. But there's so many synchronicities, though. Like it's so weird that when I was homeless, that most of my time, well, I spent more time, like let's say 20%, 15% of my time in that 2 years was in that sanctuary, in that park
Hmm.
behind your house.
Yeah.
And in fact, they were building it. They were building it when it started for me. And I had a lot of really wild, cool, crazy, divine episodes out there with apparitions in the whole 9 yards, animals.
Hmm.
I stood in, one night I stood in I was walking on the bank of the pond and all of a sudden I felt movement under my feet and there was a circle of water moccasins, literally. I was standing in the middle of them. I guess they were sleeping. And when I stood there, they all went into the pond, right?
Hmm.
And one was right under my feet. And it literally, I just dropped like an inch and a half, 2 inches. But anyway, so the fact that I spent so much time there and you were there. And then I go to work at this place that's the same distance on the other side of you, and you come in, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think any sync that was happening back then. I mean, you used to tell me no coincidences ever. I believe that, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
After that started happening, man, I believed it with my heart.
Yeah.
I didn't always understand them, but I knew there was a message there.
We just hit 100 people right when you said
Oh shit!
that.
I should put on pants then.
Yeah, put on pants. No, if you do, then I have to. God. Yeah. Well, I'm really happy to connect with you. And, I don't mind saying, I mean, I have a lot of very close friends around the world. I really do. But you're my dearest brother, man.
Now I
I
feel the
mean,
same way about you, man. You're the first person that I needed to know in my awakening. I mean, it couldn't have been anyone else, I don't think.
mm,
It had to be someone that I felt familiar with, you
yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, it did the same for me too. Believe me, I was a fucking wreck. I mean, I was fine connecting because Sology was my channeling, like the sacred geometry and the guitar playing is for you. But you know, um, having a conversation with you at that point in my life, with all the traumas and incarceration and addictions and
Yeah.
hell raising and all that stuff was nice because somebody's looking at you and they're actually not telling you that you're crazy because the only people that knew anything about soldier that I saw in the physical was mostly my family and they all thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
So it was nice. It was mutual. It was an equal energy exchange, right?
Yeah, I think everybody that you come across that you were really meant to come across in your lifetime
Yeah,
was sent to help you heal. I really do believe that. And it's
yeah,
how you accept or take the healing that is what makes you
yeah.
uh,
That's a great.
not
That's a
all-
great.
yeah, because think about it this way, not all healing comes from just love, love, love. I mean, the pain, some of the pain that we have, it can be the most healing that we can ever um, have in our lives.
Yeah, yeah. We may find out when this trip is over that our biggest antagonists, you know, uh, those that rubbed us wrong are like, you know, in our soul monad. They're like soul brother, soul sister,
Um,
like at the
they
closest level.
they turn you into a warrior or
Yeah,
a lover or just someone who's able to hold a person that's down and crying. You know,
yeah,
I mean, we're born and we're connected so strongly to spirit when we're born. I mean, we're the most loving that we ever were, and then we go to schooling, and then we're programmed, and that inner sight and inner heart is kind of programmed out of us,
yeah,
and then we spend the rest of our life trying to get it back, you know. and we have these little triggers that are blessings, really.
Yeah.
The triggers are blessings. We look at them at first they're not, until you realize they are. Um, but they're helping us address parts of us that
Yeah.
need the most work. Mine was in my heart. Mine was in my sacral solar plexus. It's affected every decision that or and pain that I've had since. I'm addressing these now.
Yeah.
I'm working on these now, and I'm not working alone. I have friends that I'm in contact with that are helping me heal some stuff. So don't ever think that you're alone in this. You have, like I said, when you vibrate at a certain frequency, you attract those vibrations and welcome the help when they're around you. Because I'm healing a lot of uh, stuff right now that has held me back, and has held me back from being the best version
Mhm.
of myself, so that I.
Oh, that was interesting.
Hey man,
I think that was the archons.
they don't they don't want to hear this, man.
It's
Sneaky.
funny because I hear you, man. You're like, whew, wow, and that's a beautiful thing about to me about what I do and what we're all doing is I get more, I get so much out of watching people, not just myself, but watching people transform.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
we're all transforming. So it's not, I'm not being condescending because I'm transforming,
Yeah,
but like the levels of humility, courage, love.
speaking
And
your
I'm,
truth.
yeah, speaking your truth, being direct, but being diplomatic or being direct uh, in compassion, you know, being more balanced before you speak, if you speak, trusting the energy, trusting the telepathy, uh, uh, embracing the empath aspect,
Yeah.
you
Yes.
know, as opposed to damning it. Um, God, there was something else. I was just on the tip of my tongue. Uh, oh, on that show that I was watching, there was two people on the show, pretty well known, and then they were saying how there used to be that thing where a few years ago it's fluffy love and light and just look at the light and don't look dark, and then people started coming together and saying, hey man, we got to look at our shadows. Now it's moved on to zero pointing and responsibility, self-reliance, conscious co-creator, um, and so in respect to that, they were saying, well, there's some people out there and they just say uh, with the archons walk in the door and we're one with them. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, everything is made of the same substance, right? And
Yeah.
and I thought that was interesting that that's still running. Like it's still. I don't know. When are we going to get to a point where all we have to do is say, why am I doing this, and what am I doing? Is it promoting an energy of separation or not, or oneness or not?
Yeah.
Like it's just not. If it's whatever the program is, if it creates two sides or more, then to me that's the answer. Is
Yeah.
it easy? Do we have it figured out? Hell no, but that's what we're doing.
Yeah. And I think that's up to the individual by themselves to be able to answer that for themselves. I'm not going to go and jump on anyone's ass because they're still in that mindset or still in that vibration. It's not my job.
Yeah,
I can still look at them and say, yes, I, I see you, brother, sister.
yeah.
I was there too. Um,
What have you mastered that I haven't? You know what I mean?
I have, yeah,
Like for everything that I see in someone else that looks to be representative of a higher ground that I could take. There's something that I have that they're weak in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we're made up of infinite frequencies, and I think that's another part of what's happening too. So much of this we're having to get used to our natural nature. Our natural nature is to sit down like this. We saw it in Sedona. You meet with these couples and you meet with these individuals, and it's not what's said. It's not like instructive. It's not like, okay, here's what we're doing. Let's all sing kumbaya and think of this certain thing. You can do that, but it's actually happening at another level, and that level, I guess, would be telepathy or higher frequency that we have actually anchored a lot of this stuff, and it's starting to show itself in proof, right?
Yeah.
Right. Hey, I wanted to say something. I want to make sure. I wanted to ask you a question. So you part of your life is teaching music, right?
Yes. Yes. I've been doing that for years.
Yeah. And you were working for a company, but with COVID, that all went away, and so you do it on a privately. You do
I'm
it.
actually doing it from home now in my studio. This is
Yeah.
camera, piano,
Yeah.
and piano right here.
You're
So
in. So you're independent. You're self-employed in that regard.
yeah,
Yeah. And you do it online.
I do it from the Zoom app or whatever
Yeah.
uh, video app that the student has.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that because I was moved to mention it. I thought about it earlier. So, I mean, I know you obviously play the guitar very well. I know you teach piano. I'm sure there's some other things as well. So I just thought I'd mention it because you are very, very, very good at what you do. And anyone out there that's looking to learn a little bit about music, I'd hit Ryan up.
Yeah, man, I absolutely love what I do. Even more so than when I used to play live in bands. I mean, there's something that is so healing itself in teaching children, adults also.
Yeah.
But I before I started teaching, you know, I was kind of the all in the mind too, ego mind, and it's really taught me a lot. Patience,
Yeah.
patience for one thing, but man, sometimes the student, the child, with his innocence says a lot, and
Yeah.
you can really learn a lot from that. It's helped me become a better person, actually, not just a better
Wow.
teacher, but a better person.
Well, I hadn't even thought about that, man. That's a whole entire show right there. I mean, the fact if you're interacting with a lot of kids, just the frequency
Yeah,
exchange would be.
some
And
of
I was gonna mention that too. Morgan just said his art too, but I was gonna mention that too. I know you're just getting back into the sacred geometry. I know you did a lot of pieces for people because I know a lot of the people that got them. Uh, so, like, I mean, do you see yourself doing that again, or
yeah,
are you just now?
I'll
It's
get
too
back.
early to tell.
I'll get back into it when I can find some balance between the music and the art. Because when I was doing the sacred geometry, my whole music shut down. I
Yeah,
I right now I haven't been able to find a balance between both of them.
yeah,
One is full go, and then the other shuts down. And then when I start doing the music again, which I'm starting to do that a little bit more myself, uh, is the art kind of,
yeah,
I don't want to say suffers, but it takes a back seat.
yeah.
So I'll get there again. I'm still doing pieces for some friends of
Uh,
yeah.
Somebody asked if is there enough time for him to play a little. You probably, you,
What
it's
do you
up
want
to
to
you,
hear? What do you want to
huh?
hear?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. Do you want to play a little guitar? You want to play a little piano?
Piano over here.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Just whatever comes up. Yeah, I never heard you play the piano before.
It was
Yeah,
my first instrument, man.
I use since the first Soul Speak videos, I used a guy named Kai Engel out of Germany, and I love his stuff. It's like it's very diverse.
I've heard of
So
it. Yeah.
neoclassical stuff. There's all kinds of, but yeah, I could definitely sit down and do a little spontaneous stuff with you next
We
time
should,
we get together with the
we should
piano.
do that. Piano was the first instrument I learned, and it was it basically helped me learn every other instrument that I've ever played
Yeah,
because of piano. It's the most amazing foundation instrument that you can learn as a kid. And once you understand the piano, music just becomes, you know,
I
another.
should have learned. I should have learned.
I could teach you, man.
Well, I wouldn't mind doing that. I when I stopped off in Arkansas in 2016 when I left Houston, my friend she had a keyboard, one of those keyboards where you can do other sounds and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And yeah, and so she had some flutes too. So we were making a lot of music, and I'd get on that keyboard, and it was weird because I wouldn't think about it, and it was more like of an organ, I guess. Like it had that, and I do okay with it. I don't know how. So,
Spontaneous
it,
is the best thing sometimes, man.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. I
that
love,
last thing that I was just playing, there wasn't any thought process going into. I was just improvising.
right.
Yeah,
That was all freestyle.
it was all improv.
Yeah. I think you're going to be getting a few messages. Looks like he is so good looking. What a smile. Just beautiful. Does he have an album of his own? No, you should make an album. There you go. Man, I hope to see you soon. I don't know when be nice to get together with you.
One of
Definitely.
these days, man.
I know.
It's gonna happen.
I know it is. I know that. I appreciate you. I love you.
Love you too, man.
All
Tell
right.
Morgan I said hi. Is she there?
Who? Morgan? Yeah, she's hiding. She's the
Okay.
unicorn. She's hiding out here somewhere. Yeah, she's here. She's probably out in the garage. But yeah, we'll get together. You just keep doing what you're doing, man. Thank you for the inspiration.
Yeah, man.
For
Thank you.
me, you've inspired me a lot in the last few weeks.
I'm working on myself, and as I work on myself, you know, everybody hopefully will get to benefit from the energy because that's all it is. It's I'm sending out my highest intention of love, but still be a warrior.
Yeah, there you go. Far out. All right, brother. I'll see you later.
Love you, man.
Peace out.